Jimmy.
Happy Sunday, John. Happy Sunday. It's not that happy, though.
Halftime of the Patriots game. Perfect time to click over here and
Perfect.
watch the Patriots. Well, it's about to be halftime. Patriots just ate a touchdown to go down 17-3 to Josh McDaniels.
They just, oh, did they? I didn't even see
Their
that.
high school offense is unable to generate any points. Shaka.
Worst offense right now, Patriots or Celtics?
Right now, who is the worst offense? Patriots or Celtics? Good.
By the way,
But
not to get off of Pat's tangent, but the fact that they couldn't get 7 at the 1, I mean, dude, if that doesn't sum up everything that's wrong with this Patriots team, I don't know what can. Like, that's a story. That's it. That's
we will get to them.
That's your lead. That's
We'll get to them.
Everything.
There's a Patriots postgame show coming later on. This is the Celtics postgame show that none of us want to do. I don't want to be here. You know what I would like to do? I would like to take a personal day, Jimmy.
I would like to take a personal
I can't do that.
Yeah. And you know what?
No, nobody say, no. Don't say stop sleeping on Orlando.
Here we
okay?
go.
They're actually pretty good. I like Orlando. I like some of the stuff they're doing. I love Boncaro. There's some talent there. They're still Orlando. You should beat this team without 2 of your best players. So, okay, we can go a couple places here, Jimmy.
Orlando just came into your house and beat you twice.
2 times.
Like no problem. With Tatum, without Tatum, we'll get into that. Didn't even matter. They're hot, and I appreciate that too. I like Orlando as well, John. But let's be real. They're not in the same stratosphere, or they shouldn't be in the same stratosphere as the Boston Celtics. If you are a championship contender, this is easy. This is easy work, right? This is time and a half on a weekend. This is an easy job that you take. You take this because it's cruise control.
From that draft there, Tatum, Fultz, Ball. One of them's playing basketball today.
One of them played. One of them showed up.
One of them was there.
One of them didn't take a personal day. Wait, John, I can't hear you. I think I lost you.
Back now. The best ability is what, Jimmy?
Availability.
Yeah.
And okay, what do you want to talk about first? The game?
So look, I don't know. I'll leave it to you. First of all, there's the Tatum thing. I'm going to put it out there early, and then we'll get everybody's opinion. Everyone's going to get this wrong. Because everyone gets everything wrong. Mm-hmm. It's not about whether Tatum deserves a day off. He does. It's not about whether or not they should build in off days for him, again, especially against teams like Orlando. They should. Okay? It is simply the fact that they gave him the day off, seemingly for a personal reason. So here's my beef. Okay? I don't know that I've ever seen something like this before, where someone just took a day off just because. I understand the load management day, but typically that person is on the bench. This was a personal day. We think, just to not be there. He sent a social media post during the game. I don't think it was a family emergency. You always want to tread lightly with the personal reasons because you don't know. But we know it was Deuce's birthday. We know he was hanging out. We know he was around today and cognizant and whatever. It's just not a thing you do. So here's the thing. It is not an issue because someone wants to make it one. It is not an issue because someone wants to not make it one. Only one thing matters. How do Tatum's teammates feel about something like this? Could anybody else on the team do something like this? Is this the kind of thing that they'll say, yeah, man, people have lives outside of basketball, and all of the apologists will point to it and be like, see, they said it's fine. Like you've never, ever in your life said anything to anyone that wasn't 1,000% true, let alone strangers in the media who are nosing into your personal business. No one's ever said that. Hey, is it cool if I do this? Yeah, it's cool. As an employer, I've had it a million times. Hey, cool if whatever. Whatever, dude.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Just don't post. Just don't post on social about it.
So it only matters what they think. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. If they have an agenda, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. If they want to pretend everything is fine and roll up with their little Celtics blankie and suck their thumb in the corner and tell themselves over and over again everything's okay. None of those things matter. What did Tatum's teammates think? I don't think it's great. They're reeling right now. They've lost 4 or 5. They just got embarrassed by Orlando.
Right.
It's a weird thing. And it might have been, honestly, the Celtics might have just botched it, like by not putting it out there early, by not calling it an injury situation. I don't know what. I feel like they could have helped him out a little bit, but they kind of hung him out to dry. And so here you have it. And yes, there will be people who are just going to go bananas banging the drum that you absolutely can't do this. But really, I think the only thing that matters is how did it sit with the guys in the room? And I don't know that we're going to know that.
Oh, we'll never know that, obviously. But, I mean, They lost the game. They definitely needed somebody to take the last shot tonight. I think we can all agree there. So it would have probably been good.
This is missing it. This is missing it, guys. I want to tell you before Jimmy gets going, this isn't the point. He does deserve a day off. Most people don't just take days off and not show up at all. A day of rest means you sit on the bench and you don't play. This is different than that. But go ahead, Jimmy.
Shit just hit the fan in Atlanta. Didn't Trae Young just miss a day and not show up?
Well, his was an injury, and they were saying, come and play, but come off the bench. And he's like, I'm just not going to play at all.
But he didn't show up either, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not comparing.
And then he didn't show up. Different story. They were mad.
Completely
Tatum was allowed to do this. Yeah.
No, this is. There's no drama involved here. Like, there's none of that. This is just the guy wanted a day off. He got a day off. I think the timing of it was a little strange. Like, it wasn't like the second night of a back-to-back. It wasn't the first night of a back-to-back. It was a home game. It was a weekend. I mean, I get it. I guess, like, his kid's birthday. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, is that where we're at now?
Because, we're the entitled ones, the people that show up to work, not the millionaires that take days off the day after a birthday. Every average person in America gets their birthday off and the day after their kid's birthday off. It's just how it is. That's normal, right? Yeah. We're the entitled ones, totally. Yeah, yes, this makes good sense. Very good.
I knew that these comments were going to come in. Again,
of course they are.
We're not going to sit here for 45 minutes and
hey, Jake, I see the move on comments. You posted again. You're going on timeout, buddy. We got it. Please don't spam comments. Keep going.
Yeah. Move on. We literally just started on this.
We literally just started.
I don't think I've gotten a point across yet, to be completely honest. And you
Please, go ahead,
on.
Jimmy.
No, it's fine. I mean, and again, we're not going to go 45 minutes on it, but at the end of the day, you have an obligation to your team, especially as the MVP candidate type player. You're the best player on the team. You're the guy that everyone kind of turns to. Your team is in a bit of a rut right now. Like John just said, you lost 4 or 5. This is the second loss now to the same team. Back-to-back games. I think it says a lot about where they're at now. You've also got Rob back in the mix. So like, are we trying to like figure out what this team's gonna look like healthy? Okay, then Rob just came back. Why don't you play a couple games with him and try to get in some sort of like routines, getting some sort of motion together, If you're going to have your MVP sit out, the second game where Rob comes back, we still can't get a good idea of what this team's capable of and how they're going to play together. They didn't really necessarily play together well on Friday night. They lost that game. So then Tatum sits out. You know what I thought was weird, John? Woj comes out with a report like yesterday. Like, when does that ever happen? Oh, Jason Tatum's going to miss the game for personal reasons tomorrow. It's like, what? And then we see, through social media, I don't personally follow, I'm not following it, but I'm getting sent these pictures or whatever of him seemingly okay, right? I mean, again, I don't want to jump to any sort of conclusions. But
I think this is the right take. They wanted to schedule
let's read it. Let's read it for the podcast people. My guess, they wanted to schedule these days off for him, and he picked a game around his son's birthday. But
yes,
it's a bad look.
I agree.
It could be true.
100%. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Sure, why not? Fine. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. And we're way past the days where guys play 82 games in a season. Like, that just doesn't happen. I mean, if you're healthy, you're not going to play 82 games anymore. That just doesn't happen anymore. So I get it. But I think that the timing of it, in my opinion, could have been better. I just don't think that this was the game that he should have missed. It's a home game. It's coming off of a loss. You've got Rob back. I already mentioned a few of these reasons. Let's try to right the ship again and get back on the level of playing field that we expect these guys to be on. For him to sit out, I mean, it completely changes the entire team. You got to fill Grant. You literally had to start Grant in his place. So now you have to find 30 points, right? Basically.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. And you're right, John. I don't know how his teammates feel. I would imagine that they're fine with it because again, this is a close team. It's a close team.
Yeah, we'll see.
They're all like cool with each other. It feels like.
I think they're medium fine with it. I still think it's weird, but the bottom line is it's a bad look, and it happened at a bad time, and the timing of it is bad. And I do agree with that earlier comment that it was a scheduled day off, which we all are dying for him to take, but also wrapped around the birthday and then not showing up and posting on social media and coming off a loss to Orlando and then losing again and having the team look totally lost without you out there. All of that adds up and looks bad at a time that you don't want to look any worse than you already do. So let's move on to the game itself. Everyone rightly saying in the chat that you should be able to beat the Orlando Magic. Yes, you should. Orlando Magic's shorthanded too, by the way. You should absolutely be able to beat the Orlando Magic comfortably with your full freaking lineup without Tatum. And this loss was worse than Friday. Sorry, worse. Awful, disgusting basketball. Every bad habit we've ever seen them make during the course of the last year and a half that you want them to not have, they're exhibiting them all at the same time right now. No movement, no spacing, no paint touches, no movement without the ball. Everybody standing around, getting outworked, out-hustled, sloppy turnovers. The end of the game there. Oh my goodness gracious, Grant. What do you do? Pathetic. I don't know who that's on. Jalen needs to keep. That's like the quarterback throws it and the receiver stops running. I can't tell who's at fault on that one.
I looking at the replay, it just felt like Grant threw it too soon. It felt like Grant panicked a little bit because I think he was realizing that he was holding onto the ball a little bit too long and he didn't want the 5-second clock. But yeah, I mean, it was a bad inbounds. I think you have to blame Grant on that one, but just sloppy, like you said, John. And again, not to harp on the Tatum stuff, but like, isn't that why you have a guy like Tatum for that exact situation? The last shot of the game off an inbounds, get him the ball and like let him do his thing. It's the same reason why you want to give Luka the ball or why you want to give Giannis the ball or whoever. Like these are what these moments are for. So it's unfortunate that it came down to that last possession, but they got a great defensive play on the other end prior to that, with Marcus diving for the ball and grabbing that inbounds play. And then they just give it right back. Like, it's just sloppy. I don't know. I mean, you want to give Missoula a little bit of blame? You can do that as well.
A lot of it. Here's another one. Jaylen Brown. Mr. I get to. They didn't get into the
Mr.
paint.
Number One.
Mr. Number One. He did get 2 free throws, I think, at the end, or he did end up with 2 free throws, but just jacket, 3-3, contested 2,
2 of 10.
Honestly, they got lucky they were even close there
because
Brown smoked a layup, got a rebound, and took the most ridiculously unnecessary off-balance turnaround fall-away attempt on the putback, and luckily that ball just dinged around until somehow it just clonks over to Malcolm Brogdon, who hit the 3, which even made it possible to come back in it. But an awful game from Brown again, not giving you what you need as the alpha. If for anyone out there wondering what it looks like on Jaylen Brown, if Jaylen Brown takes the money and goes somewhere else, or when Grant Williams gets paid $20 million to start somewhere,
I was thinking the same thing. I was just looking at the box score. I was like, this is like a Jaylen Brown-led team. This is what you're going to get. Like, this is tough. 92 points.
Well, it's a problem. It's again, why is Brown a great 1A to Tatum? What has Tatum done this year? First of all, the on-off numbers with Tatum are off the charts. We all know it. And we've seen it over time. It's, during the last few years when they've tried to do at least one of Tatum or Brown off, every Brown unit is worse than every Tatum unit when the other's not out there as well. The Tatum in the subs, or Tatum with some rotation of guys and Brown with some rotation of guys, there's a massive disparity in the numbers, and that's because Tatum is overall better at including teammates, playing team-style ball, not just being a tunnel vision me guy, where Jaylen is just an assassin of a scorer. And when Jaylen's hot, he can carry a team for a game, multiple games, entire quarters, entire stretches. We've seen it happen, but that's what he does. But then you get caught with everybody else kind of standing around a little bit when Jaylen is just kind of watch the Jaylen show, because it's just not what he does. And that makes it tougher. And so if he's going to dominate the ball and have it in his hands for a lot, that's going to stagnate the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. I mean, I think we've both talked about it. Like, I think we all acknowledge that Jaylen Brown is a scorer. And that's like what he does, and that's the most important thing.
Damn good at it.
Yeah, that's the most important thing about being a basketball player, is scoring. But there are other aspects of the game where it's like if you can't, kind of help yourself out by incorporating other guys, then you're going to get a type of game like this. And I think that's the difference between him and Tatum, is that Tatum has been able to affect the game in other areas aside from just scoring. And he scores just as damn well, for sure. But Jaylen Brown is a certified scorer, and that's why he's in the conversation for, third team All-NBA. And I know, John, we were texting about it earlier today, and the NBA is just stacked with talent. It's very difficult to crack that top 15. And Jaylen Brown, to his credit, is in that argument. But I think if he was able to do a little bit more, aside from just score, it would be a lot easier to make that case for him to be in that third team, or, if you want to argue that he can go further than that third team. But right now, when he's asked to be the alpha like he was tonight, and, again, 2 from 10 from 3 is going to hurt you. 10 from 25 isn't horrible, but it's certainly not efficient. 5 turnovers, 2 assists. He's never been not to say that his position warrants a lot of assists. I'm not going to act like he's supposed to be averaging 8 assists a game. He's not. But a guy like Tatum, who is a legitimate MVP, can give you 8 assists on any given night. Easy. Can give you 10 rebounds on any given night. Can facilitate. Can play solid defense and make a game-saving block. Whereas I just don't think Jaylen Brown is able to give you that type of production all around. And when you sub in a guy like Grant for Tatum, the drop-off from that is just... again, not to hate on Grant, but this guy wants $20 million a year. But dude, you're really not anywhere. In my opinion, you're not really anywhere near that, and you really can't. I'm not saying he should be able to, but again, you have to find pretty much 30 points when Tatum's out of the game and you're subbing him for a guy like Grant. He's a bench guy.
Yeah.
And the depth isn't there, and it goes a little bit back to. I want to see this team fully healthy. You finally got Rob back. We've been talking about it for 2 months or however long it's been. Can we get a few games? Can we get the boys going a little bit here and try to build something? I just don't think it was the right time to take the day off. Again, happy birthday, Deuce. I'm happy. I'm honestly
We're glad
I'm really happy for you. I'm really happy for everybody. I just Deuce loves going to the games. Deuce would have been fine going to the game today for his birthday. You could have played.
Again,
probably.
I still don't know what and why. So all I know is it didn't appear to be an emergency. I have no idea what the story is. I believe, like I said, what the commenter said, it was a very inelegant way. An inelegant way to give him a built-in rest day that happened to be, why don't you just not
mental
come at
day.
all? Honestly,
Day.
we're fine.
Sure.
Take a mental health day, And what's so funny is, imagine transparently how easy it would be to say that. We're giving Tatum so locked in, he will not play. I don't even want him in the gym tomorrow. We told him to stay away. I want it not only to be a physical day off, I want his mind to get right, because he's tired and he's carrying us and he refuses to separate.
For sure.
And we want to see him do it. Imagine if they said that, everyone would be like, yes.
Fine.
We'd love that. Do it. That's why the Celtics didn't help. If they say that, 1,000 out of 1,000 Celtics fans would be like, F&A right. He deserves a day off. He's a warrior. It
was like a Woj report, and it was like weird,
it was like secret, like they snuck it.
Now we're all trying to piece it together.
Why does Woj have this?
Yeah. Why did somebody on the Celtics feel the need to just be like, hey, by the way, Tatum's not going to play tomorrow? Why couldn't they just come out and say it? You're the team. You literally control the narrative. You control the narrative.
Joe,
you don't need to give it to Woj.
Somebody's got to tell Joe, hey, diffuse this. First Tatum question you get, be like, we told him to stay home today. It's a built-in. But again, there's fines in play because of the tanking and this and that. So again, there's some things there.
Yeah,
but it's like.
Yeah, I'm sure there's certain words that they can't use and certain ways that
but
they
then
have
just
to,
say it to shoulder and say, he's fine. We wanted him away from the team completely. I felt like he needed a full day of rest mentally and physically. It's so easy to diffuse. So freaking easy. Because nobody thinks Tatum has to be there every single day. We're clamoring for these off days for him. We
want the off days. I just personally, coming off a loss, again, it's a home game. against a team that you just played, like right some wrongs, work on some stuff that maybe didn't go right the first time around. Like I would have used that more. I wouldn't have taken this one off.
Yeah.
I would have taken a different one off. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Water
Plus,
under the
you've
bridge
got
at this
3
point.
straight off days up until Wednesday too, so there's already a built-in kind of stretch. But anyway,
Right.
Let's look at this here. The issues here now are several in terms of like what matters. Does it matter Tatum took the day off? Not if the team is fine with it. Not if everybody knows, nah, man, it was built-in rest day. He just wasn't here. And they might not give a crap at all. And
I don't think they care. I don't think they
that's
should care.
Fine. And you shouldn't care. If that's what it was, built-in off day and just go away, fine. Done. That's totally fine.
You know what
Not
it
an
is?
issue.
It's opportunity for everybody
Individual
else.
games, people having a bad game from here and there occasionally is also fine. You're not going to play 82 clean games.
Right.
But we're now looking at a trend ever since Golden State once again unlocked your ugly side and made you remember what bad was, which we'd all forgotten, both the team and the fans. We forgot what bad looked like. And when you see it again, it's bad. And now you're talking about this team's played about 4 good minutes of basketball in the last 5 games, and that was coming, not quite. I mean, first half against LA, they were hitting a lot of shots. But I mean, they don't make that amazing comeback against the Lakers. You're talking about 5 straight losses here and having blown a massive lead in one of them and literally being embarrassed by the worst team in basketball twice and blown off the court in 2 other games. It's bad, but it's not just the losses and the totals and sneaking out that win. It's the habits that are concerning, which is, I think, what we have to talk about. But before we get into that, and obviously we're going to welcome in Bobby and Josue from the Garden. They're talking to the crew, getting a sense of how everything is going. We're going to tell you a little bit about a couple of our sponsors, starting with Rocket Money. Yep. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a really cool product that's already saved me personally hundreds of dollars that I didn't even know I was spending. What Rocket Money does, it consolidates all of your memberships and subscriptions all in one place, and it shows you, like, hey, did you even know you were paying for this? In some cases, you'd be like, what? Ding. And cancel it, but they also give you the opportunity to renegotiate, which a lot of these subscription sites do when you threaten to cancel, which is what I did right off the bat. I canceled a couple, renegotiated another, and I've saved a ton of money. So a lot of people out there are probably thinking, I'd probably spend 70, 80, 90 bucks. Realistically, the average person is spending close to $200 a month on subscriber sites, and this is really a good way to clean it up. So trust me, you want to do that entering the new year, and you're wondering why you never have any money. That's why you're friggin' burning it places that you don't even know that it's just gone up in smoke for sites you don't even know you belong to and you don't even use. So again, get rid of those useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/garden. Seriously, you can save hundreds a year. Yes.
I've done that with a couple things. I don't know if anyone does XM radio. I personally love XM radio. Serious. You can kind of like finagle those guys a little bit. Just a little heads up if you are paying for Sirius XM radio. Also, John, I want to say about Rocket Money. I've been to the website and checked the whole thing out. It's not even just subscription stuff. Like, they're literally, like, they will just take care of, like, they will basically help you help yourself when it comes to finances. Like, they will track everything for you. They'll keep tabs on your finances. They'll help you sort of like save a little bit, put a little plan together. A lot of people's New Year's resolutions is like, oh, I want to save for this, or I want to do this differently, or I want to budget differently. They will help you budget all that stuff that you've been like kind of ignoring right now. Like I'm guilty of it. Like, I just won't look at my bank account sometimes because I just don't want to know what I'm spending. Guilty, like, especially after like a long weekend. You just like, I don't even want to see what dumb stuff I just paid for. But Rocket Money will actually kind of sort all that out for you, and it's just a good thing to try. Check
that out. Josh McDaniels, by the way, just drew up a play that looked like Matt Patricia did it, and Kyle Duggar jumped it for a pick 6.
Really?
on a quick out to Devontae. Duggar sniffed it out and friggin' was standing there. So Patriots are now within a touchdown. Best offense is a good defense in the Patriots case. Last thing we want to tell you about, of course, Athletic Greens, another great sponsor of ours that we've had throughout the second half of the year and is coming back with us next year, which is awesome. And honestly, the reason Athletic Greens is back, guys, is because of you, and we really do appreciate you guys. So again, check it out. It is a one-stop shopping supplement, 75 high-quality vitamins, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, adaptogens. Boom, 1 scoop, cup of water. Start your day right. Gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus. It does all. Takes care of everything all at once. And I know you're kind of chasing this dream on a daily basis, trying to find the magic, cocktail to make it all happen. This pill and that, and this kombucha and whatever. Just do this.
That's literally me, John. You just attacked me, but go on.
We talk about consolidating. It's the same thing with the rocket bill. Like friggin' it's all in one place for you. It's terrific here. So again, lifestyle friendly, diet friendly, costs you about $3 a day. Trust me, you're spending more on that. If you're looking out for your health, I guarantee you're spending more right now. And you can just take care of it with Athletic Greens. 7,000 5-star reviews, pro athletes, healthcare professionals, celebrities. So to make it easy, what are we going to do? We're going to give you 1 free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. If you go to athleticgreens.com/garden, again, athleticgreens.com/garden. Time to reclaim your health. Arm your immune system. Convenient daily nutrition. 1 scoop, cup of water every day. Bang. You are done.
Bang, bang. Dude, you know it's like $4?
This.
Okay, yeah, go for
Phenomenal. You get one of these. Yeah. We have a form now, which I believe is here in one of the chats. If you want to check that out, you can fill it out, and we'll just ship you a T-shirt right away. Phenomenal T-shirt. What were you going to say, Jimmy?
Well, first of all, true story, you actually literally made me fill out the form, so I can actually say it's very simple to do.
It's pretty easy.
It's a really easy form. You could probably lie on it, to be completely honest. You shouldn't, but you probably could.
Guys, listen, don't get mad at us because we're paying the bills. People are mad that this is part of the game. We got to pay bills, okay?
Oh, everyone's upset that we're talking about our sponsors. All right, fine. Then the show will just be canceled then, I guess.
Yes.
Fine,
the show's canceled.
No ads.
Day off.
No show.
Personal days for the rest of the year.
The last thing I was going to say, I think I already forgot. Dude, coffee's it's like $4 now minimum for like a coffee.
Yeah.
And guess what that gets you? Jitters. That's it. It's actually not giving you anything nutritional that you want.
Fill out the forms.
Athletic Greens will actually help you be a better person.
Yeah.
Literally be a better person.
All right, so people don't want to talk about our sponsors. They don't want to talk about Jason Tatum because
move on. Hey, John,
okay.
move on, dude.
Move on. When you guys watch the TV, and you have no control. Yeah. Are you watching a show and it's like a part of the movie where the guy and the girl are about to make out, but you want to get back to the action? Do you just start screaming, "Move on"?
Yeah.
Move on. Blow stuff up. Just
character development is not. We're not big on character development on this show. We're just strictly action.
Move on.
But only action that we agree with.
Yes.
If it's not that, then don't talk about that either.
Move on. God, do so. Talk about something.
Find a new slant.
Talk about something that's not going to make it hurt. So this is a fair question that Zach asks. What's the identity of this team? I don't freaking know anymore. It was offense for a little bit, right? And it was historically good offense, and now it's historically terrible offense, occasional defense, and just a bunch of stuff. People hanging around looking at each other, waiting for somebody else to do the job.
My buddy texted me something. I don't even know if it's true, but I'm literally looking up as we speak. He said the Celtics were the worst offense in the NBA over the last 8 games or something. Grandy tweet that or something like that.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's not good, Bob. Typically speaking, you don't want to be the worst. No identity.
The worst by my math, Jimmy, is bad. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So
you don't want to be the worst at anything.
It's just kind of crazy that they've gone. I think
it's December 21 Celtics right now is what we were looking at.
It doesn't matter what the year is. It's just December Celtics are bad. But John, we've talked about it many times in this show. We knew that at some point, everything comes full circle. They're going to find their equilibrium, right? They couldn't possibly keep shooting at 80% from 3 or whatever the number was. I didn't think they were going to go back. I didn't think they were going to go to worst. I thought that they would probably settle somewhere in the middle for a stretch and then find their way back up near the top. So I think a lot of people, including myself, were a little shocked at how quickly things can change. And I mean, dude, you could put together like a comedy reel of us talking about how good this team is.
Brutal.
Over the last couple months.
You want to talk about move on? Holy crap! We couldn't stand ourselves. We couldn't want. We didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, and now to be in a situation where we're like, dude, you just scored 92 points against the Mets. Like you really. This is. I haven't poured over the numbers, but this statistically has to be one of the worst offensive performances for any team all year. I mean, this is how bad it was. I mean, this is a season where there's really no defense even being played. And you could only score 92. You should be able to fall into 100 points, really, if you're this team. And I know Tatum didn't play, and that's really, at the end of the day, John, I mean, we can't even really criticize these guys without at least saying, well, their best player didn't play. So we get it, but we got to fill 45 minutes minimum anyway. So the fact that this team looked as bad as they did.
I've got 20 minutes of ad reads still to go.
Right. And of course, if Tatum plays tonight, the game looks differently. I would say there's probably a good chance that they win this game, especially looking at the way it ended without him. But you want to at least be able to resemble some sort of contending team, regardless of who's out there, if it's your best player misses a game or whatever. And it just feels like, again, it goes back to the depth. And we talked about how they seem like they've got solid depth, whether it's Brogdon, Grant. He started tonight, but typically coming off the bench now with Rob back in the fold. Whether it's Hauser or whoever, you want to be able to at least feel confident that guys can step in and step up. That's why I don't think that. I mean, John, you've been on teams before. If a guy misses a game for whatever reason, all that means is more opportunity for everybody else in the team, and everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to contribute. No one's mad when somebody can't play. I mean, yeah, it might be like, damn, like it might be a little bit difficult to pull this one off, but you accept like the challenge essentially. And I imagine that's what all these guys kind of felt like going into this game. And now obviously they couldn't live up to it and they couldn't get that W, but that's why I don't really necessarily think that like they're upset that Tatum didn't play for whatever the reason was. But I think they should be upset with the fact that they couldn't win without him, because these are games that you know at some point Brown's going to take a game off for whatever reason. At some point, we've already seen it. Horford's taken a few off, and we saw them struggle with Horford out.
But they've been all season long, Jimmy. When they had a guy miss a game here or there, they didn't really miss a beat. Again, you're playing without Rob all year. You've had Horford miss every night of a back-to-back.
But they've struggled in some games with Horford.
You've had Smart miss a couple. You've had Brogdon miss a couple, and they haven't missed a beat there. Tatum's a different animal, but you've got the entire team here minus Tatum. This should be a cakewalk.
Ooh, look at this comment. Do you think the Warriors broke
Well,
down?
this is the one I wanted. I left it up here because I wanted to talk about it. That loss bothered me a lot.
The boogeyman?
Well, the loss really bothered me because we felt like they were going to really come in and look right. And I'm going to let Bobby in here. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up,
Hey,
Bobby?
what's going on? He said.
Bobby.
So, Bobby, I'll get your take in a minute. I just want to kind of finish this one thought here. This loss bothered me a lot because I was really concerned with
The Warriors loss?
The Warriors lost because it was a reminder of the worst habits that the Celtics had that they slipped back into against this team and that a team brought out in them. And it was something that I thought we had gotten over with these guys. I didn't expect to see it. I didn't expect a 41-point half. Bobby, you remember how many times we were counting 40-point halves last year in the first half of the year where their offense there were so many where here's another one. They had I think they had a stretch of 15 games where they had a 40-point half in 12 of those games, either the first or second half, where the offense would just absolutely grind to a halt. And that's what it looks like. And it was there a lot. So these are reminders, and I, put it out there. A lot of people are going to wonder, what's going on with this team after this loss to Golden State, because it really does bring up a lot of stuff. And everyone's like, shut up, best record, it's just one game, flush it. And I've got people still in my mentions trying to dunk on me for that comment after they'd lost friggin' 4 of their last 5, including 2 to Orlando. Shut up, they're still good. We know they're good, but we also know they're capable of really, really bad. And then the question is, which one sticks? Do they go back to being this unbeatable juggernaut of a team? Is it a team that has flaws and stuff that it has to figure out? Is it a team that was playing a little bit over its heads, and maybe we got ahead of ourselves because of the shooting was so was it's such a unsustainable clip?
That's
which
where I
Bobby
was.
Bobby
Yeah.
kept saying it to us over and over, and we ignored him. We were running through that stop sign like, Jimmy, I got an echo on you, buddy. Whatever you did there made an echo, so I made it go away.
I think you pissed Jimmy off.
I didn't mean to piss Jimmy off. Jimmy, when you took the headset off, I heard a big echo. I'm hearing myself now. I can't hear you anymore.
No voice.
Yeah, because.
Oh,
All
there you
right,
go.
can you hear me?
Unmuted.
Is there an echo?
I don't hear one.
Is there?
Yes,
there it is.
there is.
Yep.
All right. Fine.
Go back to the thing that was good before.
Go back to
All
the
right.
old
Are we good?
offense.
Are we
So
good?
the Golden State, I don't think broke them, but it was a cause for concern, which a lot of people are like, it's one game, it's one game, it's one
I
game.
think it's fair,
like,
John.
Yeah.
Just because everybody's struggling right now up and down the lineup, tonight no one played well. And that's startling to see. You would have thought one or two guys come back to earth. There's some other guys who keep scorching. And Grant's probably been the one who's held on the best, at least until tonight. But then tonight, everybody just went into the tank from three and just kept launching them. And the approach to me is questionable. Like, you're always going to get that, oh, we had great shots. We got to stay consistent, keep putting them up. Don't hesitate. You're going to hear that from
gotta
every
match their
team.
energy. We had good
Yeah.
looks. They just didn't fall. Like, okay, got it. You know, like, are they real or are they fake? What are they? Like, we never would have thought we'd have this
What are you?
conversation before. Is this a real team? Or is this not a pretender, but one? Is this a team that was running so far ahead of the pack that everyone was chasing them? Or is this a team
They're
that's
in the mix
that
at the
pack
top.
again?
They're in the mix at the
but
top.
they weren't
and
in the
that's-
mix before. They were
Yes, I know,
lapping
I know.
the field.
I didn't think
Yeah.
that was who they were. Like, they were
Okay.
not the Warriors from 15 to 19. I thought I gave consideration that they might be just because it kept happening for 20 games or so. And you were kind of starting to buy in, John, too. You're like, this might never come down to earth. And it has, in a pretty
I
dramatic way.
did,
And-
Bobby. I bit on it.
Yeah.
I bit because I love the flow. I thought there was something to the style that they like. I believed a little bit. You know, there were some people who were like, Ime made them play tough D, and that's a grind. And while they finally did buy in, playing defense all the time is hard. And Joe unlocked them. Joe made it fun again. Joe opened up the offense. Joe kind of taught him
Missoula
stuff.
ball.
They were crediting him for like how their flow and how they were moving, and they kind of got it. And I was like, this might be what they needed to unlock, you know, some of the stuff that we saw. Because why they lost last year because of their offense. Everybody's saying defense wins championships. We know, but they lost because their offense absolutely went in the tank against Golden State, and credit Golden State for, you know, terrific game plan against them and playing them the
They
right way and
turned it
making it
over
frustrating.
1,000
But they
times.
kept running right into the same traps over and over again. They were being baited, and they run into traffic. They were forcing bad shots. They couldn't get anything going, and you saw them kind of exposed as an offense, and that went away. And then it's kind of all come back now in a really like just boom all at once sort of way, and that's what's concerning.
Yeah, and Grant said they're falling into bad habits again. He sees it happening. Smart, I asked him in the locker room if he sees guys pressing, and he said he does. Like, he sees guys getting down on themselves. I think you saw it most from Sam Hauser in this one. Very frustrated facial expressions from him. And he just sees dejection that's spilling into defense, that's spilling into rebounding late in this game. Huge offensive rebounds from the Magic that pretty much stole this one. The Celtics had chance after chance to shoot ahead in the final minute or two there, and Markelle Fultz just kept slipping in. Smart said those were things the Celtics were doing to other teams. Now the Magic and others are doing it to them. And in terms of going back to that Warriors game, I was a little worried after hearing them say, oh, that's 1 out of 82. I forget who set that tone, but everybody just sort of followed suit from there. And it slipped into the Clippers game. They sort of had that same optimistic outlook after that one. Joe did slam Tatum pregame at the Lakers one, and that seemed to be the thing that kind of grinded the halt on the slipping. But they should have lost that game. They lose these last two here. You still kind of hear that upbeat tone. And Joe, I don't know if you guys talked about it, called this a great game for the Celtics. It's kind of startling comments.
Yeah, what's that about? I saw you text us that, but I didn't. We obviously didn't hear it.
He said he thought they played great for a majority of the game, which that's overall been the tone of his comments over the last 4 or 5 games here.
Well,
Is that he likes
you know
the
what?
shots they're getting, he likes the offense, and he's not going to get down on them or beat them up publicly.
I mean, so this is the kind of the give and the take with Joe, like the good and the bad. Freedom and letting them play free. It's kind of what Brad was known for, right?
This is even more extreme than Brad, though. Brad
It
would
is
hit
more
the team
extreme.
from time to time.
Yeah, but it's similar to the Brad approach, which we hated because it was like, tighten it up, man. And the idea and the things about the Brad approach wasn't only that he wasn't like this. Everyone turned it into throwing chairs in the locker room. Nobody wanted Brad to throw friggin' chairs in the locker room. What people wanted was Brad that. What people really wanted at the end of the day was Brad to tell everybody, this is what you do, and here's your job. And this is what I want you to do when you're out there. Your job. Everyone's got one. But when you start to freelance and go away from your job, it's my job to tell you, you're kind of getting away from the thing that I want you to be doing more. And that would include the games where Marcus Smart would take early in the clock threes and finish the game with 15, 16, 17 shots, or late in the game where Jason Tatum wouldn't get a touch in the final 3 or 4 minutes, and everyone would be like, why is this happening? And why isn't somebody telling them to stop this from happening? And right now what you've got is just no timeouts, sling the ball around, keep jacking those threes, and no kind of stop. And so I think what happens is, like, the players like the freedom this is any line of work. Employees love freedom when things are going well.
No boss.
But when you're a boss, and when things go bad, they're looking at you to fix it or to give them the solutions to fix it. And when it's not, and you just let them out there, they feel a little hung out to dry. People don't like that. The people want to be coached. They said they want to be coached. So that's the kind of the push and pull with this free style of coaching. And a lot of people here, Bobby, just to let you know, we took our shots at Tatum early, and we can circle back as well because I'm curious.
Well, I want to actually
commentary. We get Josue here too.
But let me get Josue in. But the Missoula's taken more heat than anybody in our chat so far tonight, Bobby.
Oh, and I think deservedly so.
Yeah.
I want to hit on that comment though about the boss thing you just made, the analogy that you just made, because I think it fits so well in that late game sequence there.
Another John analogy. Love it.
They have 2 timeouts.
No relationship analogy.
It's a good one, Josue.
Yeah.
They have 2 timeouts there. They're setting it up pretty well. I think they were down 1. They got the ball. Grant throws away that pass. And he just said a few minutes ago that he should have called timeout in that spot. They didn't have the play set up right. He threw it too early. Brown was tied up. He said he should have had the awareness in that spot to call timeout. And then the next play around, they didn't get the look that they wanted. Horford decided to run a different play to give it back to Grant, and that's what resulted in that last shot there when they were down 3. So I'm sure Missoula ran those plays, but they had options. There was sort of a lot of player control there, as you talk about, John, and they weren't able to manage that situation great on those last 2 plays. And again, is Joe going to come from the opposite sideline and call a timeout, seeing what Grant was going to do on that first play? No, but it's just one example of many that you talk about there in terms of the players being in control of what's going on here, and the coach not having the ability or maybe the willingness even to stop, slow it down, and take control of things again. And I think it's just a matter of consistency with Joe, right? They start off phenomenal, historic. So are 4 games, 4 losses going to make you change your entire coaching approach? Probably not. But I do think it's part of his development as a head coach here in terms of picking his spots, when to interject. And he actually did say, as part of that post-game presser there, that he had to do a better job of managing the last few possessions there from the sideline. So he did take credit in that sense of one thing the team needed to do better.
Yeah, no doubt. Josue?
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Patriots screen pass. Everybody drink.
Wait, what happened?
Nothing.
Just literally a screen pass to nothingness.
One of those Patriots fake it one way, throw it to the other running back in the flat sort of passes. Never seen that one before. Everybody drink.
For a loss of 2.
For a loss of like 7. Everybody take a drink. Go ahead, Josue.
It's not getting any better in Vegas. No. Bobby, that's a good point. I get it. I don't think anyone's expecting drastic changes, but the thing is that when this team that's playing offense on a historic level to run into these type of performances, you have to start making changes. I mean, that's with any team, championship aspirations or not. I think Joe Missoula, look, I get it. The shots are open. A lot of these threes are good looks. They're good opportunities. They're sometimes within the flow of the offense. Most of the time they are. However, I felt like the Orlando Magic wanted them to shoot. I felt like the Orlando Magic, the drive and kick, they like that, because without Tatum, it was more like you got to beat us that way. And when the Celtics they couldn't string together stops. So I think it starts on the defensive end. I do. Again, like, defense continues to rattle.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. It's I think it's a little of everything. It's the offense affects defense thing. We see it with these guys a ton. And it does.
And I think that changed tonight. Just from my view, I don't know how you and Jimmy feel about it back home, but I don't think the shots were great tonight. There was a Brogdon transition run where he tossed back to Hauser. Again, he's open, but can Brogdon just take it all the way there? Maybe force a foul again and one transition. I know there were some guys in front of him, but you're shooting 25% and you're kicking back in transition to Hauser for a three. Like, that's just one of a few plays. Grant, the last shot we just talked about, guy right in his face shooting the three there. And that's not his fault. Horford threw it back to him, but that's a tough three. Brown took one early in the game, way behind the line. I look at some of these, and it's like, especially the ones early in the clock. They were doing this during their run when they were playing great. So, again, how much do you get away from this? But they'll just fire to a guy trailing, Horford or whoever else. They did it with Horford a ton in this game, where they just throw it to Horford crossing into the half court and have him fire away, like, a couple seconds into the shot clock. And, yeah, you're open in that spot, but can you run something there? Get downhill, get some touches in the post. I only saw one Rob touch in the post in this one. You know those plays they'd run a year ago where he would just kind of touch the ball, throw it out, and get a guy going, a guy a shot or maybe a guy cutting? They're not using Rob at all right now offensively. And we talked about that last year. I thought that's something that they could have done in this game. And maybe it's tough in 17 minutes when he's coming in and out, but you got to find a way to utilize him if he's going to be out there on the offensive end. He can't just be rolling and standing around. This is what we talked about when it comes to reintegrating them. So I don't think that's a big part of their struggles right now, but it is a part of it, is the fact that they're trying to get him involved again. And he's a big new piece that hasn't really been part of what they've been doing so far.
Yeah, I mean, what's the take on Rob? I'm trying not to be – I don't want to be tough on him in the sense that, like, you fully expect a guy who hasn't played any basketball and is basically like – this is like preseason game 2 for him. So I don't expect a lot, but it kind of goes back to my lament over the surgery in the first place with a guy like him, was not just the concern about whether or not this could be recurring and start to sap him of some of his athleticism and be a thing that's going to dog him the rest of his career. That's there, and that's always kind of in the back of your head with Rob. And with each, incident or, setback like this, it worsens it. But my bigger thing, Bobby, and we talked about it a bit, was not having the benefit of an offseason where he can actually work on things. He has yet to take an offseason and come back in, like, ridiculous shape.
He's the same player he was a year ago.
I've been waiting for that same Kendrick. I've been waiting for that Kendrick Perkins, oh my God, physical transformation, where he's just like that commitment to, like, I'm going to absolutely – I want him to cut his freaking hair. They were talking about in the game, like the players were talking about that he couldn't
go there.
But with all of it,
yeah,
I don't think so. But I want him to work out, get in shape, work on basketball, get better at basketball, and he just doesn't have that. So he's starting where he was last year, but behind physically and with everything else and with timing. So you're trying to ramp him up to hopefully get the same exact player you had last year, who, while immensely impactful, is still an unfinished project. At some point, you want Rob to be finished. You want Rob's game to be close to the type of game that you think is his ceiling, and he can't ever get there because he just doesn't have enough time to ramp it up and get there. So he looks again lost. He looks out of place. There's sometimes on offense he's standing nowhere near where he should be. They don't give him the ball, so he's almost kind of in the way everywhere on offense. Defensively, he's jumping out a little bit on stuff. He's over exuberant. He's kind of, he's left his feet early a couple of times, and he's still making an impact, even though he's all over the place. But he's freaking winded. After a few trips up and down the court, you stop seeing him. He doesn't make it. He doesn't make it all the way over on offense. He misses trips entirely because he's absolutely gassed. So he's got to get himself in shape, and he's got to get everything right. And you're kind of starting all over. But that lost year of development with Rob again, which is a bummer because he can't keep raising the bar for himself and what you can expect from him.
Yeah, it's a small point. I don't think his presence out there is a major reason that they've been disrupted. In fact, I think he's helped with the putbacks and different energy plays that he's made. I even see him really communicating out there to try to get things right. I think he's working hard to get involved right now and doing some good things. I mean, there was a really nice roll he had off of Brown, I think it was, that he kind of botched, but it's a good play. There was another one where he got downhill off the White, finished in the lane. They need him right now because, again, I don't think they get enough shots at the rim. And I always go back and forth on this because I think, if I ask someone, and I will, they would say that they want to get to the rim and move the ball out because guys are collapsing. And like Josue said, that's what the Magic's game plan pretty much was in this series. So they're not shooting a lot at the rim. They're kicking out and creating good threes off of those plays. But I still think you need to be higher than the bottom half of the league in terms of shots at the rim. And that's where they are right now. And they just don't use Rob enough. Horford's not really a guy who goes to the post anymore. Smart can drive and finish, but he's sort of taking a hit there. I think he said he played like butt in this one or something like that. And I like his approach and kind of get them going. But right now it's Brown and Tatum in terms of good looks at the rim. And Tatum's not here. And you see even more in this one. They're just not able to get in there. They're not able to finish well. And like the Mo Bamba and all these big Magic defenders, Bol, they just disrupt them so much. So it's threes and layups, right? That's the game. They don't really have the layups as much, especially if you're not getting out in transition, and they've struggled to do that too.
Guys, what do you see from Rob? Are you encouraged? I'm encouraged physically because it doesn't look like he's lost sprint. And when he comes in rested, he looks agile and
I'm just encouraged that he's back
and he's on his toes. So I like that he's back. I don't care that he's off. I'm just bummed that this is where you are with him again. But I like so far. But integrating him is going to be weird. We did talk about whether or not that's going to be a challenge, particularly offensively, because they just don't go to him. But how does he look to you guys?
Crazy.
What's your Rob's impression? There's nothing. There's no interior touches. One time they whipped it out to him. He kicked it right out to Hauser for a three.
And then Jalen did the thing where he tosses it 50 feet over his head trying to.
And then Jalen tries to throw him out. Yeah, an alley-oop nowhere, and he almost killed him. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just so different than anybody that they've had. So obviously it's going to look different with him out there. I'm kind of with Bobby. I'm just glad to see him back on the court. I'm not surprised that he's not quite in game condition. I don't think we've ever known him to be like this, next level winded, conditioned athlete. It seems like every time he does enter the fold, it does take him a little bit to sort of get back to speed and where he needs to be. So I'm not surprised that he's a little bit slower than we all want him to be out there or winded or whatever. I'm glad that he's playing. I mean, I think this is exactly where I thought he would play 15, 17, 20 minutes. I think he played 17 tonight. I think that's where he needs to be right now. Certainly don't expect him to be playing 30 minutes a game, and we know that he couldn't. But I think that they need to get him more involved, obviously, and I think they will. Again, it goes back to what I said originally. This is why I want Tatum in the game. I want to see these two guys play together. I want Tatum to get him involved, and I want Rob to get more acclimated with and get more in the swing of things and be involved in the offense. When Tatum's not in the game or not playing, everything is just completely different. It almost feels like it means nothing almost. Like you're going to see Rob in a completely different situation with when he's out there with Tatum. Those guys have a really good thing going on between the two. We know how much Tatum enjoys playing with Rob, so I'm kind of holding off on criticizing until he plays a little bit more and we get a better idea of what he actually is, capable of doing. But yeah, John, to your point, physically he looks like Rob. I think it's just a matter of consistency and, again, getting more conditioned to the NBA speed, which the only way you're going to do that is by playing. So if we have to sort of take these lumps a little bit and for him to get back, then we just will.
And you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's a conditioning thing. I really do. I think what's most encouraging is just how he looks physically. I mean, some of these rebounds, his head is going above the rim. Like, Bobby, you saw some of the going like the oohs and ahs off of rebounds. Like, that's how thirsty they've been to see Rob back out there. And, look, 2 games in, he looks good. He's turning in the right direction. And I think it's going to be an adjustment for Rob.
I think he's helped more than hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's helped more than hurt. And I bet, it's gonna happen gradually. But you're gonna see that one game where it just all comes together. Maybe it's in a week or so, maybe a week and a half. It's gonna take time because we've seen how Rob has to sort of work his way back. But at the same time, though, it's encouraging what he's giving you, given how much time he's missed.
Yeah, no doubt. I think again, I'm not at all concerned. Oh, thank you, guys. I'm not at all concerned with it. Conditioning wise, like I said, I really only lament the, the whatever, the fact that we didn't get it. We just can't get him. We can't get momentum with Rob. That's all I'm really saying.
That's
there.
it. Momentum is a good.
I think he looks good. But a couple quotes from the locker room, and again, I want to get Bobby's thoughts here too. Because I want to hear, some of the other chatter coming out of there. Marcus Smart saying that beginning of the season there wasn't a lot of pressure, and there is now, and so they were kind of playing free and easy, and now
I asked him if they're pressing, and he said they are, and he says
and
he
they're
sees
pressing,
a lot of pressure and just guys getting down. Hauser, man, he is lost. It's tough to watch right now. He did get that one where Rob again. Yeah. Post touch to Rob, swing out to Brogdon.
Paint touch right out to Hauser. Yeah.
And so that was a good play, but dejected look throughout the game. And I didn't see anyone else's really facial expressions, body language. Smart was saying that's an issue right now. But Grant talking about old habits. Like the players seem to be aware to what's going on more than, or at least admitting more to what's going on than the coach right now. Like this is a little bit of a slump that they're in.
To fold in this comment here, and thank you guys for the super chat. Anybody wants to kick in, we really do appreciate it, but we're not, no pressure. Any and all contributions do go to the hosts, so we do appreciate that very much. Thanks. They wanted it more. I think the hustle factor. Here's the thing: you can say things about played great, which I think is honestly borderline insulting, and you can say things like Jalen said, which was there's a lid on the rim, and I think that's excuse making. Like, oh, our shots didn't fall. Your shots suck. And the quality of the shot matters. Working for better shots matters. Working harder on offense, doing the stuff that you were doing before, trying to get some easy buckets. That matters. It's not just a lid on the rim. And I understand why a guy like Jalen would say it, because he's so used to hitting ridiculously difficult shots that when he takes ridiculously difficult shots and they don't go in his mind, he's like, well, they went in yesterday. But us watching at home is like, but it's a ridiculously difficult shot. I mean, long contested twos off the dribble are hard friggin' shots to hit. So It's not a lid on the rim. It's a low percentage shot. He just happens to make a lot of them. But the crashing back down to earth, if we said the Hauser, Smart with the shooting, Derek White is an absolute. Derek White not only is slumping, Bobby, Derek White's back in his own head. I saw him pass up 2 open looks where he over-rotated on a shot he was taking earlier in the year because he didn't want to take it himself because he's not feeling it right now. I saw him swing one from the corner wide open for no reason to Brogdon, who actually had a defender closer to him right above the break there. That's a choice. That's I don't want this shot. He wasn't doing that before because they were falling, and now they're not, and he's thinking about it.
Yeah, it's everything. Everybody's in their head to some degree right now, and you do see Smart trying to break them out of it.
White's legit back to where he was with that, scared to shoot.
Yeah, and that's tough because you don't want to demote him. You don't want to minimize his role right now. I still like him in that starting lineup, and obviously Rob needs to come off the bench for at least a little bit right now. So I think you keep him out there, and I know we roll our eyes at it, but you really do have to just keep shooting and stay consistent and not change things a ton right now. I think your approach within games in terms of shot selection can change to some degree. I think you can start attacking the basket a little bit more, get to the free throw line. How many free throws did they shoot in this one? Not a ton. 21. So, yeah, they're getting to the free throw line, but I just like the basket looks to me are still the big one. They got to find a way to free guys up in there, and that's back cuts. That's a lot of the off-ball screening we saw early in the year. A lot of the action on offense, activity on that end is what they're missing right now, I think. And that's commitment. I think a lot of that's just being connected and having the willingness to do that. And they're going to have to pile up stops, too. I mean, the Magic only scored 95 in this game, but didn't they score every time they needed it? Whether it was the offensive rebounds or getting to the mid-range for a tough shot or getting inside. I mean, they let a million guys run back line for cuts to the rim. So a lot of it's the timeliness right now when it comes to the defense. So I do think the defense played well tonight and gave them a chance. Brown was good defensively. It's that offense right now. I got to look again tonight, but it was last in the NBA for the 4 games coming into this one. Dead last by a decent amount, too. It's crazy to go from historically good to dead last like that. And that's, again, the mental part you're talking about, John. Guys are in their own head. missing everything. Bowling layups. A lot of bowling layups in this one, right?
Yeah.
So there they are. They're back to earth, but they're kind of underground, really, offensively right now. And I don't know how they dig themselves out of it. The Pacers are going to really challenge them on Wednesday. Another up-and-down team. Maybe not the best defense, but another team that's really going to come at them energy-wise, challenge them.
Jimmy's
Minnesota,
Pacers. Jimmy, give us a scouting report.
As soon as the Celtics trade for Brogdon and traded away, they traded away.
They traded his favorite guys, Brogdon, Sabonis.
They trade everybody that I loved on the team, so I'm out on the Pacers now. Obviously, my guy Neesmith is still doing his thing, whatever that is. But
think they'll run a video for him.
The most exciting play in football, by the way, a Nick Folk field goal, Bobby. He just did it for you. 54
that's Bobby's guy. That's
Bobby
Bobby's
loves
guy.
that. Show me somebody who loves anything as much as Bobby loves Nick Folk field goals. He loves them, loves them, loves them.
I love him because if he hits them, you can say Folk, yeah.
Folk,
if he misses them, you can say all Folk.
The dude is electric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he did miss a couple
Josue's
games
back.
Did
We're
Mac
going to give you
blow
one
it?
more chance.
Did
What's
Mac
up,
blow
Josue?
it before that field goal?
I don't even know if they moved an inch, but somehow they.
Yeah.
Save it for Pat's post game.
I'm just trying to I don't know, man. I'm just trying to dissect this loss. With everything given, no Tatum, things that have been things that have been said about this team with this huge homestand for the chance of them to gain momentum heading into that matchup Christmas Day against the Milwaukee Bucks, man. And you're just wondering how much is it really on these guys, Like you guys talked about, Joe Mazzulla isn't going to crack the whip to the extent of maybe the way Ime would have. Maybe he finds his own way of doing that, pulling guys aside before games like he did against the Lakers. Does he do something like that again? Do we get a players-only meeting? Again, this is granted if things continue to go in this direction. I mean, Indiana Pacers, Minnesota Timberwolves, you lose a couple of those. Again, I'm just saying, putting it out there, what does Mazzulla do? Does he continue to give us these same responses after the games, that these guys have to figure it out and that he's going to just allow them to take whatever, pretty much give them the responsibility to offense?
So that's the thing. It's the same thing we talked about it a little with the Tatum thing too. It doesn't matter what we think. People in the chat are like, Joe's got to set him right. We're saying Joe's got to kind of stop the bleeding. Give him some direction. Right the ship. When Joe says something like that, are the players like, he's right, we do have to figure it out on our own, or are they thinking like, nah, man, that's what they pay you for? Like,
well, let me say something.
I don't know
yes,
what they're
it's
thinking
on him.
there because. Yeah.
It's on him. It's on Horford. I don't really want to go here with this today, but it's really on Tatum.
Go there.
He's got to come back and really put his foot down and get this offense right. He's the leader of this team. He was setting a lot of the tone early, and he's going to have to come back and just tear things up because this started with his slump against the Warriors. You go back to that game, John. Awful against the Clippers. The Lakers game, he was phenomenal, and look at what happened there. He turned it around and stole a win. So Joe said this too, right? They're following Tatum's lead. A lot of things go down the line from how he plays in games and leads them, and I think his presence was missed out there in this one, and he's just got to come back and play amazing right now and really get them back on the winning track right now. And offensively, like how much offensively does he set a tone with off-ball screening? Someone tweeted me and said no high pick and roll in this one at all. He's got to run a lot of that, and he's the guy who finishes at the rim again and again and again. He gets on transition. He's one of their best defenders. There's a reason he's the MVP leader right now, and it's not just because he has these crazy stats. I think they're a much worse team without him, and when he plays bad, I think it kind of just blows down the line. The complaining, I think, stems from him. Like, they really have become Tatum's team in terms of reflecting his style of play and his struggles and his confident electric stretches. I mean, again, Lakers game, 180 because of him, all because of him.
I agree. Has anybody so what was the vibe? Jimmy and I got into it early, and everyone got mad at us.
Yeah, move on.
That we talked about it at all. But you know what? We're at the end here, so there's nowhere to move on to. We're going to circle back to the Tatum thing. He misses it. Everyone's got their jokes. What I said early is I think the Celtics didn't do him any favors by allowing this to be something that was released by Woj. It created some air of like kind of mystery to it. What
Did
is
Woj?
it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Woj tweets it like he'll be out for personal reasons instead of it just coming, whatever. And so then it's on then you see the birthday pictures. Then he posts something on social media. Everything was handled not great. And I said from the get-go, if they just simply said, Jason Tatum's got a couple of ailments. He's going to sit this one out. We told him to stay away from the building altogether because I think he needs both a physical and mental rest because he's been, carrying us and he's tired and, we want to blah, blah, blah. And everyone would be like, that's great. We totally agree.
And that's probably what they did, right?
That's probably what they did.
I don't have an answer, but that's probably what happened here.
So my question is, it doesn't matter what we think. Everyone's like, shut up. He needs a day. Whatever. It doesn't matter what we think. It doesn't matter if you think it's okay. Right. Do you think the players are cool with it? And if the players are cool with it, then it's a totally non-story.
Yes.
No one said anything.
So.
No one asked so.
Yeah, I think this is the type of team that they look at it as a challenge. So I don't think the players are upset with them. I don't think that's the case.
That's what I said, Josue.
Yeah, I mean, again, if there's a reason you need to be out, they know, and if the team accepted it, then it was probably fine. And again, I'm not making an excuse here. He played 40 minutes a game the last 4 coming in. Just
we
can't
all
happen.
want
That's
him to
another
take
thing.
days off. It's how this was handled and the optics of it, making it look like he was just like, I'm just calling in today, which is a weird thing because people don't normally do that. You know what I mean?
I've never seen that before.
Right.
I will
right,
say
but
that.
Especially from Tatum, though, right? Isn't this the guy who hates to miss games? Isn't this the guy that the Celtics have to beg him to take a day off, take a night off? We all know what his minutes historically is, and even at his age is a bit up there. So again, I'm just thinking this is something that it was really up to Tatum that he decided to do this, and for whatever reason, I'm not faulting the guy. Who knows? Death in the family. I mean, look, you can go down the list of things that it could be that you would say, okay, that's understandable. So it's tough.
There's
but I don't
of reasons to take a personal day.
I don't think it's a rest.
I don't
know if it's a rest thing. I don't see that. I don't know.
Oh, I do.
I think it's something
It could be mental rest,
I think it was a planned off day that they also gave him in and around. So a commenter put this out there and makes the most sense. Planned off day they gave him in and around. Deuce's
and that's
birthday.
maybe why it goes to Woj. Yeah.
I mean,
all right, we've had the
we're
setup.
pro mental health on this podcast. We're a com.com/garden
We
podcast.
are a
so
com.com.
Right?
obviously, if you need a mental health day, go for it. But it's how you kind of go about having it where that's the discussion is.
A day of calm for Tatum. And by the way, if you guys are down with it, I got to tell you the truth, guys. Calm. They left us. You guys weren't.
What?
You weren't into it. This is the last month, unless you guys save us.
You're kidding.
You guys got to save us. Calm.com/garden. This thing is great. #1 mental wellness app. 40% off.
Wait,
go.
I feel betrayed right now.
This is a good gift, my friends, for people. Go get this. 40% off. Premium subscription. Get your head right, your mind right. Sleep stories, music, curated music tracks, guided meditations. My goodness, this thing is awesome. Go get it and get yourself a phenomenal T-shirt as well.
Seriously.
Fill out the form here in the chat and submit your receipt, and you will get a Calm T-shirt, guys. So I don't know.
You get a phenomenal T-shirt.
Story or non-story? Here's why it's a story. And people hate this. When people talk about something, it becomes a story. People are going to talk about the Tatum thing. It is going to, find its way into talk radio. It's going to find its way into crappy national narratives. You can't control it, so just don't get mad. It's going to happen. And that makes it a thing, whether or not it is or isn't, because it's around and it continues. And it was created, I think, unnecessarily because it might not be a thing. It just kind of, was bad timing for this sort of thing. And
it was that,
bad timing.
That's all.
And so it's gonna be a thing.
Like I said,
you got to live with it. Yeah.
He's just gonna have to bounce back from it and play great, and he was gonna have to do that anyway because he has slipped a little bit over the last recent stretch here. And again, I think the chat goes crazy when I talk about this, but the bar is like there in the moon, sailing sky, and he fell under it for 3 or 4 games there. So he's got to bounce back. Again, Lakers game, perfect example. Awful start, go way down. He comes out and fixes it. He's brilliant. And he's setting the tone on this team more often than not. The way everything's structured offensively, it looked today like you really can't do what you were doing with him without him.
How's that?
And I know.
Sorry, Bobby.
I know they had a win without him when they rested him, but it was like the Wizards or something. Yeah, he's gonna have
This
to bounce
comment
back.
is hilarious. This is how wrong people get everything.
He's not going to remember a random loss in December, guys. Sorry. He'll remember his kid's birthday, though.
Wow.
All right.
That
All right,
is true.
Ty. Dad of the Year. Hey, give Ty Dad of the Year award.
Everybody in America
I'll get
gets
boy
their
of the month.
birthday off and their next day off. That's just how America works, guys. That's what we do in this country.
It is Sunday.
We take our kids' birthdays off and the next day. That's
Yeah.
my right.
Listen.
It's in my contract.
Listen, we get it. We get it. Like, yeah, your family is
We
important.
get it.
We get
Your
it.
family's not important.
Hey,
We've all
Jimmy.
got. Everybody's got a family and they go to work. We get it. We get it.
Al's last 3 kids, we didn't give him slack, right? When he went to
People
go,
don't-
no one does that. Well,
I hope we can
Just
all
because
be...
you show up to work doesn't mean you don't love your family. Do you understand? It's not how it works.
actually means
This
you
isn't
do
how it
love your
works.
family.
Stop getting it so wrong. It's not how it works.
That's not
John
how
went to
any of
work
this-
today. He must hate everyone in his house.
What a bad dad. He actually went into work instead of hanging out with his kids. Oh my God! Hey,
You
shout
know
out
why?
Ty,
I
Dad
go
of the
to
Year.
work so I can feed my freaking kids. That's, my goodness gracious. Anyway, fine. Move on. Doesn't matter. The bigger story is they're playing like ass and have since Golden State. And the question is, who are they? Who is this team? And I thought we knew. And I thought, of course, there'll be bumps in the road. I now question it completely. And that's what's thrown me for a loop.
Yes, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But also they're shooting like so poorly from 3. Is it
It's
that
terrible.
simple? Is it that simple though?
They
Like,
regressed hard. There wasn't.
Yeah,
they didn't fall
hard.
back to their averages. It's not like Derek White is shooting 35% for the month, which is closer to his average, down from 47.
They're like-
He's
Let me pull
shooting
those
like
numbers up.
28%. You know,
Yeah.
like it's bad. Hauser's tanked. Smart's
Like,
tanked.
you
White's
can't
tanked.
shoot 23% from 3 and expect to win the game when
Right.
you're winning games by shooting 45% from 3.
They're getting to their career 36% by shooting 48 and 22. You know what I mean? It's like that's how they're getting back down to it, and it's bad.
Brown's 34, Tatum 33, Smart 30, White 23, Horford 28, Hauser
So
25.
now they need to work
All of
more
them stopped
for
in
their
December.
scoring.
All of
Right.
them. And it's not
Grant's
just
still at 43. He's the one
But
that's
part of
hanging
it
in
is
there.
when the bad habits seep in. I
Brogdon
know you
must be up
feel
there
like
still.
they're open shots, but they're
Brogdon,
not
yep.
because they're not within flow. They're rushed. You're taking the first good shot. You're not working at trying to get a better shot. They've gotten out of
Right.
their habits of trying to get a
Yeah.
better shot,
Early in the
and
shot
they're just
clock.
taking the first one they see. Or late in the clock ones after they couldn't do anything because nobody tried to get it into the paint or move without the ball and everyone's standing around, so they whip it around the perimeter 4 times and the last guy with it has to shoot. Those are bad shots. The early in the clock shots are bad shots because you're not working for better ones. They're taking more of those, it feels like.
Yeah, again, the trailer shots. Like, they're throwing it right to Horford 2 seconds in, and he's firing it up, and they run that play a lot in the transition. So
Right.
they worked for them before. Again, I think it's going to be a stretch here where they start to see, all right, what works, what doesn't, what do we have to change? Because, again, you lose 3 games, John. I don't think after 2 you're like, all right, let's change a ton. Maybe after
Right.
this one, after a sweep at the hands of the Magic, they do have a practice on Tuesday. You got to consider, too, since the stretch started here, they haven't had a practice or even really a walkthrough. So they'll practice on Tuesday, have a couple games off here. I'm sure they'll make some subtle changes here. And
Right.
it's tough for me because after that last game, I did feel like this might turn into a little bit of a rough patch here, specifically because you lose Hauser, you lose White, you're losing important guys, even Horford, who were on fire, and even the guys at the top of the roster reestablishing themselves won't put them back at the level of dominance that they were at. So this is where you find yourself. I think you're in the mix with a bunch of other really good teams. You're not miles ahead of everybody else. And it's going to be a little bit of a battle with the Milwaukee's. The Brooklyns, they're back. I think they're back for real. I'll admit it. And maybe some of the other teams at the top of the West, including the Clippers.
There's some things we never thought we would admit to ourselves, Bobby. And one of them is that Brooklyn is back.
Now,
and
Ben
might be
Simmons
real.
is still lost and out of the fold, but Kyrie and Durant are averaging 30 each this month, and the number 2 offense in the league. They got to get that defense together, but they look like they're a home court team in the East.
It's Celtics are back to the pack here. Guys, closing thoughts before we move on. We got a few days off. We will let you guys know, of course. We do have we're going to be here Wednesday. We're going to be here through the rest of the week, and we are covering Christmas. As many of us are going to make it onto that show as possible. I'm not holding anybody to it here, but I'm telling you that I will be there and I will be on. And I know
Christmas?
a couple of us. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be there.
I'm going to be there.
I'm gonna have some eggnog. That's an eggnog.
Yeah,
That's an eggnog show.
I actually
can't wait
loved
to see
it.
what the Garden
They
serving
played
on
last year,
Christmas.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Christmas show was fun. It was kind of like just getting to say hi to you guys. Breaking news: Jimmy hates his family. That's what Tim said in the chat.
Damn, Jimmy, I didn't know that.
We're all doing a Christmas show because we hate our families.
I will be separating myself from the family at that point in the day.
Yeah.
Just a few hours, right? Are you gonna watch the game with the family at least, or do you just go?
Open some gifts, do some gifts in the morning. Get the little Christmas ham going in the afternoon. We'll be post meal at that point. I'll have a couple of eggnog drinks going, little nutmeg, little cinnamon top on there. Oh, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, between that
and honestly,
Dawn and the White
biggest game of
Russians.
the year.
Oh, I got the White Russians going last year.
It's that time of the year.
Love a good White Russian.
The Caucasians, yeah, I love that.
I love
Oh,
that.
yeah,
I've heard everything through this losing stretch here. You're at rock bottom when we see a comment that says Celtics could have used Ben Simmons today.
I saw that too.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're back there, huh?
Yeah.
We're back there, just after 4 losses.
There it is.
I don't know how.
I don't even get what that means.
I don't
He's
get it
so
either.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I enjoyed it.
Maybe it's a joke. It might be sarcastic.
That's a
Yeah,
tough
well-
argument. I don't think I can make that argument anymore, John. I think I'm retiring that one.
It's over. We're back for the Aaron Neesmith revenge game on Wednesday, which actually will be fun. So I am interested in catching up with him.
Oh, I'd love to see him have a great game. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
That would be awesome.
Just because the poor guy needs a win. But I mean, look, he's playing a little better. He's not playing great, but they're starting him. He's getting real minutes there.
Let me see his numbers this year. He
It's
is
not great. But
you don't want to look.
Shooting percentage is up. He shot horribly in the month of November, and it's better now. But his 3-point percentage was brutal.
37% from 3 for the year. That's
It's
solid.
up. It's up. It's much better than it was. He started pretty crappy, but it's been better lately. He is 43% for the month of November.
All right.
So yeah, he's better. His numbers are up. He's
40%
playing
from the field, though.
29 minutes, 20, 30. 14 points a game ago.
They're
He's a
playing right
contributor.
now. He's got 16 and 6 today.
Nice.
He's a contributor.
He hit 4 threes today, and they're in the middle of a game right now. They're fighting against the Knicks.
Go,
right
Aaron.
now.
By the way,
great guy. We
Man.
liked him a lot. We wanted to see him do well.
But I think we can all agree that
he needed to move on.
thank you, by the way. We are
Brogdon's
almost
probably a better
phenomenal.
fit.
By the way, before we get out of
take
here,
almost.
I don't think we mentioned the Magic at all. Good looking group. It's a good
We did
team.
a little. We
Yeah.
conceded
I
it.
love,
There's
I
things
love
to like there.
Banchero.
What are you, Joe Mazzulla?
No, I'm a big fan of that young group that they have together. There, Bol got to catch up with him after
Man,
last
Cheryl's
game.
legit, man.
I never heard of
Yeah.
Bol Bol. Who is he?
He's Bol.
Hey, remember at the time when they got him, we did say like second
That's a
draft. We
good-
were still kind of in that mode. Like,
That's
oh,
a
you
cool
found a guy with
diamond
some...
in the rough they could hang on to. We were kind of intrigued, right?
Yeah, and Magic caught hold of it there. Good pickup. They're doing some good things down there, and they might pick Victor Wembanyama, and all of a sudden that might change everything for them. We'll see.
That's gonna be a wild. Whoever ends up
Yeah.
with him, it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Him and Bol,
Yeah.
holy
Anyway,
shit,
we've
that'd
been
be
going a
wild.
bit. We will wrap it. You guys can watch the rest of the Pats here as they try to
I gotta watch
sneak
the rest
out
of
a
the
win.
Bucks. I gotta
The
see
Patricias
Bucks.
versus the McDanielses. Tom Brady's
Bucks
down
again.
10 points to the Bengals right now. So there's still some stuff to do, but of
I'm
course,
going
check
down
out
the
Patri-
wire in fantasy. Oh man.
What up, Trax?
Check out Patriots postgame show, guys. Check
winning.
it out.
I want everyone to know that I beat John Zannis last week in fantasy football. I knocked him out of the playoffs, and now I am in the playoffs, and I am winning. I should move on. I just want everyone to know that.
The three of the 4 best teams were battling for the final 2 spots in our playoffs. It just wasn't right.
It wasn't right. It wasn't.
It
fair.
wasn't
Josue
right. You
has
got
a-
Josue's team crawling
blows.
in there. Yeah, literally.
Josue's
he's got-
team blows. Somehow he was like 3 wins ahead of us.
But they win.
Ugh.
They win, Jimmy. They win games, don't they?
They
I
figure
know.
it out.
You gotta-
I don't know how they
Josue's
do
got a
it.
good defense. He's always winning the low-scoring contests.
Yeah.
It's just great.
There
They
was
just
a
show
lot of
up.
those teams.
They
A lot of
show
those
up when
teams.
they have to. Those nail
Yeah.
biters.
Yeah.
Great
All right, we're gonna wrap it, guys. We will see you guys later.
Um,
Thank you guys for hanging.
yeah.
Thank you for supporting your sponsors. If you do, thank you for the super chats. And thanks
Thank you,
as
thank
always for supporting CLNS Media. We do appreciate it. We will be back on Wednesday. Until then, for Jimmy Toscano, Bobby Manning, Josue Pavon, both reporting from the Garden, and Sherrod Blakely not here tonight, but we will be back on the next
In
show
spirit.
on Wednesday. Good night. Good luck to
Peace.
all of you.
Go
in the
Bucks! I need
fantasy
a big
football
Bucks comeback
playoffs.
here too. They just gave
Yeah.
up 27 straight. The Bucks are in trouble.
Yeah. Pats are
guy.
doing a pretty good job shoving Devontae around all over the place, by the way. I like it. Anyway,
Pats
good night,
are
guys.
down 1. Okay.
It's interesting. There's some fun stuff. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.
John, wait, real quick.
What?
Do you have
I didn't
do you have-
cancel it.
Do you have Pat's post game, or is there something going on, or what?
I keep saying it. There's a Pats post game coming up. I'm not on it, but we do have one. Check it out.
Okay,
Perfect.
Pat's post game. All right.
Thank you,
You can
guys.
see